Hello, my Teaserking family. Hope everybody is fine today. Watching gold and watching the derivatives have fun. 2873, which was basically a strange day. China didn't really shoot it up last night, and it went down at 4 in the morning to 2880, then back to 2895, and then 8 o'clock it went down about five, and then the U.S. comes in at 28.90 down to 28.70. Still trying to do their derivatives for some reason. It makes no sense. Um, so 28.73 silver, 31.38. Again, it's not moving. Yes, the demand's there. It's not free market as we know. It is price fixed, and I have no idea why, because the demand is huge, but yet it stays low. I don't buy the industrial use crap. Oh, they need it for solar panels and batteries and stuff. That's too bad. The market should control it. So what you have is JP Morgan price fixing it. Speaking of JP Morgan, I saw a video where JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, sold a ton of his shares in JP Morgan. So what that shows you, so let's go down the rabbit hole there. So JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon says, I'm selling a lot of shares. Why? Because he knows his bank can't handle these derivatives. So when they do these stupid derivatives, lowering the price, it's really for people can buy gold. But when he does it, when he sells his stock, what's he saying? He's saying, selling my stock because I know the bank's about to go broke because we're going to have to cover these derivatives, which we can't cover. And they have tons and tons of gold they need and silver they need to come up with, which they don't have. And that's it. So look for the bank stocks to start tanking, as I said. So why would the chairman of JP Morgan sell all his shares? Well, if I'm running a company and I think it's going to do well, I'm buying shares. But if I know it's going to collapse because we can't handle the derivatives, then I'm going to sell. And that's what he's doing. So that's basically, always think about things like that. Why is he selling? Simple. He's selling because he knows it's going down because he's the chairman. He's the biggest crook there is as far as that goes. All these banks are crooked. Goldman Sachs, Chase, they're all crooked. So just be careful with them. My Daria, okay, I haven't heard. She must be at the doctor's. Um, just a second. So she's apparently what's in her cheek is um what's in her cheek is a tooth or a filling. So she had dental work. Don't ask me. And then somehow what? It didn't come out or it was stuck up here, maybe a wisdom tooth, and then it got up into her cheek. I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but that's what's going on. And so now it's hitting a nerve. She goes to the doctor and they tell her to they tell her to So here's JP Morgan. They tell her that she needs surgery, which I would assume is a little laser surgery to pull it out. I can't imagine much more. So I think that was yesterday. Today, I haven't heard from her today yet. She had a good birthday, so we will see. Here's the Jamie Dimon thing. He's selling all his stock. We'll take a quick look at this.
I'm probably the only person online who shares every single one of my trades completely for free. I
208. In this video, I want to talk about how Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan, is selling everything, making his largest sale of shares ever this month. My name is Tom, and welcome to Chasing Success.
We don't care,
so let's
Tom.
dive straight in with the key information. We can see there's a monster insider trading notification over at JP Morgan. CEO Jamie Dimon has just dumped $233 million worth of shares, and he's really scraping the barrel clean. So not only has Jamie Dimon sold shares held personally, he's also sold shares held in family trusts. He's also sold shares held in LLCs. He's also...
Okay, we got the gist. He's selling shares. So why? Why would you sell? Because you know the price is going down. And he could need money. Maybe he wants gold and he doesn't have money for it. And so he's selling stock to buy gold. So there's two reasons he's doing this. More than likely, he knows JP Morgan's going down because of these bad loans from commercial real estate and home loans and things like that are going to collapse the bank, and all these derivatives in gold and silver that they play around with in comex is him. And therefore, he's going to lose his ass. He's going to lose trillions, which, of course, the stock's going to drop. The second reason is he probably wants maybe to buy gold, although I don't know if he's that smart, why he wouldn't have bought gold the whole way. But more than likely, he knows the stock's going to go down. So if you got stock, I would get out of JP Morgan, per se. If you know nothing, if he's getting out, you get out. And you'd get out of all the bank stocks. And in fact, you get out of the stock market because obviously it's going down. When he sells all this, what do you think is going to happen to the stock market? Of course, it's going to drop. So there's warning signs out there. All right, now I want to show you this one guy. This guy's name is E.B. Tucker.
It for some nefarious reason because
I don't know what he is. He does have some gold, but he talks like a Keynesian. So I'm not clear. He's brought up this term dead money. So after listening to him, I got a pretty good idea of what's going on as far as talking, let's say, dead money, and what's dead money. And apparently people want to be in stocks or Bitcoin because it's not, I invest and I make money and get out. Although they don't seem to get out of Bitcoin and they don't seem to get out of stock, but they don't want their money, or as I would call it, passive. So what does that mean? So if I buy physical gold, I've taken $3,000, I bought an ounce of gold, and now I just put it in my safe. Well, a lot of people don't like doing that because A, they don't understand gold, which went from 2,000 to 3,000 here. But B, they don't understand. They want it aggressive. They want Bitcoin to go up. They want to be in one stock and another. They want to chase the stocks and go, look, I just made money. My money's active. That's what I'm getting out of him. And that's why people don't like physical gold. They'll get into ETFs or gold stocks if they want to get into gold. Again, not really. They just want to make 100 and move on. They're the dumbest people I've ever heard of, because why would you do that? The goal is to make money, right? So that brings us back to patience. The investor today doesn't have patience. The investor today is sitting there, I must make X amount every day and keep it active. So that's why they buy the ETFs. But if I have physical gold, I just get my money's in the gold and that's it. Or my money's in my house. That's it. It really, I got to wait for it to grow, and I can't do anything with it. And basically I don't have the money. So if I have 100 grand in stocks, apparently I can sell and get into something Nivea or ETFs or Bitcoin or something. My money's active, it's moving, but I don't want it in gold. It takes too long. Basically, that's the message I'm getting. I'll play a little of this guy. I don't like him. I gave it a negative, but he does have gold. So I don't really know how to take him because he doesn't understand the economy, debt, the debt, the inflation, deflation. He doesn't understand that. He says, well, there always will be inflation. Well, not if you're on the gold standard. And again, let's get it really simple on inflation. We choose this dollar. Okay. So every economy, every country needs a medium of exchange. Every country, Russia, China, India, it doesn't matter. And so you choose a dollar. All right. So we're going to use this as our medium of exchange. This is our choice. If I'm in Europe, this is my choice: the euro, Swiss francs, British pounds, Chinese yuan, Russian rubles. This is my choice. I'm choosing this. Okay, so I've chosen this. Now what happens is the government can't balance a budget because they're always adding to the government to give away free stuff to get elected, because the lobbyists pay them millions of dollars to do what the lobbyists want. Even though that's not the point of the government. The point of the government is to protect the Constitution, not to take money from lobbyists and then give out lobbyists what they want. So you're going to keep printing money because it's not backed by gold. Well, that happens in every country in the world since the Roman Empire. And what happens is, we're always going to have inflation. Well, the dollar isn't worth anything anyway. So we're going to keep printing these to pay for things, pay for government stuff, whatever. Have a war. Why? Let's have a war. Because if the defense contractors gave me money, they want to sell. They want to increase the sell of tanks and missiles and rockets. So they gave me money. So let's do that. Oh, but we got to pay for the war. So why doesn't the defense contractor pay for the war? Why do we pay for it? Hey, Prophet, good morning. So why do we pay for it? I don't know. We'll have the defense contractor make the missiles and the tanks and the planes. They'll pay for it. They'll build it and then sell it, but we'll pay for the war. It doesn't make sense. So basically, what's happening is the reason people don't want gold is because it's passive. You buy it, you put it in your safe, and you're done with it. You're really not, that's the bottom line of it. But I don't want an asset like that. I want it, more, I want it in stock so I can keep moving. And they're just idiots, but they're getting it from their financial advisor. He's saying you don't want to be in gold because he doesn't make commission on it. And we'll play this in a minute. You want to be in, stock, basically you want to be in stuff I make commission on. And your money's tied up in gold. You don't want it in gold. Well, of course, that's their whole thing is commission. So that's what I'm finding out. And he's kind of saying, well, I talk to people about owning gold and they don't want to tie their money up, basically. And it got me thinking, I never thought about they want it liquid and they want to be able to move it. And if it's in gold, now you certainly can sell it. It's very, very liquid. You got you got 10 ounces of gold. You go to the coin store and you get times 3,000, you get $30,000. It's liquid. You can certainly do that, but it's the only thing that is not going to be inflated or printed. So you must understand the concept of inflation being printed. Then he starts talking about deflation, which isn't real. Basically, deflation is you're never deflating the money. you never, taking the supply, you can't really take the supply down. And then you really are, prices go down because of the market. Nobody has money, they're not buying. Right? If everybody's losing their ass, they're not going to buy a Canadian Club 12-year. Right? They're not going to. No, that's $100. That's too much. I'm going to just buy beer or something. And that's really the point of it. But you can't really call it deflation. It's just the market acting and the prices going down. That's what happens. To say deflation is bad, I don't think it's bad. It's actually good for us because things are cheaper now. So I don't really get it. The gold's not going to be cheaper. That's not going to go down in value because that is being done at market outside of the U.S. So let's take a listen and we'll beat them up because I like to do that. Guy's name is E.B. Tucker. Sounds like the guy who stole the money on the plane.
Hello, welcome back to Money Network. I'm joined with E.B. Tucker, author of Why Gold, Why Now, and current writer of the Substack, The Tucker Letter. E.B., good to be with you.
Thanks for having me.
Look, why don't we start off with something a bit more fun? Obviously, it was extremely, Why Now, Why Gold was extremely popular around the pandemic. I remember listening to it on Audible during that time. If you were going to rewrite it today, what would you change?
That's just a fun question because as an author, I have millions of words in print, so I have a philosophy. I refuse to change previous work. For example, I would not get involved in talking about equity investments in the book. I mean, I did that because at the time I was quite bullish on a certain equity investment. I'm not only am I not bullish on that anymore, I think it's performed so poorly that anybody that owns it's crazy. And I think it distracted from the main point of the book. So I would not rewrite that chapter. But I refuse. People have asked me to go back and make changes. I will not do it. That book is the best gold book there's ever been, which is not me being arrogant because there's only about 4 gold books. So it's not like a big genre. But I truly believe that if you don't know anything about gold and you want to save yourself tremendous time and money, you should read that book. And you should look at the parts where I talk about stocks as informative, not as direction.
So I don't talk about gold, really. I could write a book, but I'd rather do this because I'd rather have the conversation. I'd rather have Prophet ask me questions I can answer right on the fly. And I am very open-minded where this guy doesn't sound open-minded. I wouldn't go back and change my book. Why not? If it doesn't make sense, if it doesn't add value, you should, or make a second book. But putting equities in it, if you're talking about gold, makes no sense. Anyway, this guy's really weird. He really has it. But I was interested in the title Gold Peak. I go, here's another idiot.
It says in the book, I will not go back and update it. And things did not work out the way I intended. And that's okay because life never goes as you intend. And your job, if you want to be successful, is to change your mind when the facts change. That's what you need to do. Is when you see the fact leaving the London Stock, what are you guys going to do?
I jumped ahead.
Glencore leaves. I mean, like the listing fees that they pay, right? I mean, it's like imagine nobody's listed there, okay? But just maybe some African uranium company, but that doesn't really count. So the thing is that it's a very American thing. So when I say it's a $60 trillion, stock market, I'm talking about the American stock market, which is the Americans always think other stocks around the world should do this and that, but it's like they've never traveled before. It's not really like a Bolivian thing to do, to list your company on the local exchange, in La Paz or whatever. It's like it's not going to happen. So my point is that what's going to happen to make gold go higher? And everybody says, well, it's not in Fort Knox. Okay, well, look, I've been around this for a long time. I'm one of the only people, I bet you I'm one of the only people on this show that's actually been to the New York Fed Gold Vault. I went there in finance school in 2001, in May of 2001.
Okay, we've all been there in Die Hard 3, as we discussed yesterday. What happened in 2001 that doesn't mean there's any gold now in 2025. My reaction to his stock thing that only the U.S. has stock market is because we get paid in the company man. So we get paid into a retirement account, right? So you go make 100 grand at GM, they're going to offer you a 401k, and they're going to give you take 4% and they match 4%. So automatically 99% of the people working are in a 401k and in stocks. They put you there and they match you. So it just makes sense to be in it for your retirement account, and you don't pay taxes on that. And people are mostly have no clue, so they all jump in it. And then what do we hear coming out the other side? Well, I got 500K in my 401 I have 500,000 in my 401k. And if I sell it, I got to pay tax on it. And I'm saying sell it because the market's going to crash and get into gold. And they can't because they're locked in. I had one guy who said, I can't sell it. I'm not allowed to sell it. What kind of crap is that? So these guys are locked in their 401k. The company's matching, so they think they have money, which they don't because it's all monopoly money. And that's why the U.S. is so heavily into stocks. Because if you work, you're going to be in the stock market. I'm probably the only person I know who opts out of that and says, no, I want to buy gold. Don't touch my money. I don't want your match because then I'm in dollars. Just don't touch my paycheck. Don't take out a retirement or 401k. I want more money, and then I can go buy gold with it. And that's that. I know I'm in the minority. Prophet Jeremy Irons got all the gold and shipped it back to Switzerland. Well, no, he got stuck at the aqueduct in Canada, and it was all loaded on the trucks. He should have shipped it back. To answer your question, so the prophet sent me an email. I'm getting gold in. What do I do with it, and how do I ship it to my girlfriend? And I hope I'm just using this as an example, Prophet, so I'm trying to not get too personal. But this is a good question. So first of all, depending on how much gold you get, you got to put it in a safe. You can't just leave it out. Now, if you don't want to leave it in your house, I would suggest one of these storage areas where you got a key and you lock it up. So let's say I was moving from Detroit to Vegas, or let's say I'm gonna be with Daria in Russia. Well, I can't take everything, so I would probably get a storage area, and I would take my stuff and put it in my storage area. And I have the key and I lock it up, and it's pretty secure. Never in a safety deposit box in a bank, because the banks will go broke, as I'm talking about JP Morgan, and then you won't be able to get into them. Sorry, the bank's closed. Well, I got safety deposit. They're not going to let you in. So that's why you can't leave your gold or silver or valuables in a safety deposit box in a bank. So I think the U-Haul or the storage area that you have the key to, and you can put a lock on it and lock it, would be the optimal place to put a large valuables. Now, as far as shipping them to a different state to your family, I don't know. I would probably. It's going to be heavy, especially if you're taking big bars. I don't know how. Maybe you can take them on an airplane, but you're going to you don't really have to. No, you'd have to declare because you're going across countries. Ideally, if you had a few ounces, you just put it in your pocket on the airplane. Nobody knows, and you give it to your girlfriend there. The big bars, I would tend to. I think you're going to have to FedEx them or UPS them. I don't know how else you'd get them, but maybe talk to Egon von Greyitz. He's on Twitter. He's got a number, and say, how do I get my gold to you? And I'm sure it's a shipment. So I know you can put it on an airplane. So I would think FedEx or UPS. I wouldn't say necessarily gold, but I would say I have valuables. I want to ship them, but I would think that's what you do. And that would be the only way. The other way would be melting it down and getting 50 ounces and ounces and then trying to bring them on an airplane. At least it's easier than a bar, right? A big bar is going to show up in x-ray, and a big bar, what are you going to do? But a few ounces you can easily do. So then the question is, or do you sell it and send her the money, which would be a lot easier on PayPal, let's say, or do you what's she going to do with the bars? Is she going to sell them? So I think that's the question. But I would think you ship them. Look, it's from London to New York. They're on a boat. They're too heavy. I know you can put them on airplanes. Maybe you fly American to your friend and say, I'm carrying valuables, and I don't know if you have to pay tax on it or what. I really don't know what would be done because I only have ounces. So I just take 2 or 3 ounces, put in my pocket, and nobody says boo to me. We're not looking for, because to them it's the same. If I put 5 quarters around them, I got money. I got change. They don't even care. So that's what I would do with that. But with the big bar, I don't know. I don't know if you could bring it in, but then you got weight problems on your carry-on because your weight's restricted. So I think you maybe call the airlines, but I think, or you call FedEx or UPS and say, I want to ship, and just try to get some information, or even Google, how do I ship gold? How do I ship gold bars? And they probably will give you a few as far as it all coming to you. Yeah. But here's the biggest point that I'm going to make. Nobody knows you have it. You know you have it, but nobody knows you have it. So you're worried about somebody breaking in and taking them. Okay. Have you had problems with people breaking in before? I've never had that problem. So does anybody know that I have my gold and my mantle cards and my Montana? No, nobody, you guys, but you don't know where I live, but nobody knows I have it. So if you just look at my apartment, you're not, it doesn't look like I'm a millionaire, and yet you have it. And I've never had problems with people breaking. So why all of a sudden is somebody going to break in? They don't know you have it. And this is where you really mind fuck yourself. You know something, but they don't. Right. So if nobody knows, then you don't have to worry about it. Yes, you know it, but that's why you put it in a lock and key in a safe and you hide it. Nobody knows you got it in the first place. If somebody's, going to break in, they're not going to look there. They're going to look wherever. And, what are they going to take? Your TV, your cell phone? So, I mean, that's what we do to ourselves. You start accumulating gold and you start freaking out. I know I did in Italy. They were all of a sudden out of the blue going to do a apartment check. And I said, nobody's allowed in my apartment without me. And the girl said, oh, that's okay. We already did it and we didn't do your apartment. I'm like, don't do that. Nobody's allowed in my apartment when I'm not home. And so that was the thing. But that's what you worry about. Like, okay, I'm flying to Italy. What do I do with my gold? Do I leave it in my apartment? Do I put it in my car and lock it in the glove box? And, I park it at the airport. I've never had a problem. Nobody, it's a gated airport's parking. Nobody's going to break into your car. If you leave the window down and the keys open, maybe somebody, and the keys there, maybe somebody steals it. But I've never seen any problems with cars in a gated lot. So part of my mindset is, well, maybe I should put 20 ounces in my glove box and then leave the rest at home. And if my car's there, then I'm okay. And if somebody stole it from my apartment, well, at least I got the 20 ounces. So I do that when I travel. It does stress me out a little bit. But that's the thing. But then I thought about it, as my angels are telling me, but nobody knows you have it. So why is somebody coming in to rob you when there's nothing to rob? And that's really the point. So we do this to ourselves, where we think things are the way they are. We know something about it, but nobody else really knows. All Are FedEx deliveries insured? I would assume so. I guess you'd have to call that, but I would think for sure they are. What is GM and Ford and Mercedes? They got to get steel. I'm sure, however they get delivered, these big trucks, I'm sure they're insured. So I think that's what I would check is FedEx or UPS, are they insured? Um, and I'm not sure you tell them it's gold versus silver versus just collectibles. Uh, this I don't know what you would say, but I would think that would be the easiest way to ship it. And yes, you would need insurance, and yes, it would be a lot because they're valuable. That so it's going to cost you to insure it a lot. But I don't see another way. I mean, if you flew to her and you gave them to her, you got to get the ticket, and then you won't have to insure it, but you'd have to pay for the weight. In other words, your suitcase or your carry-on bag, let's say you put it in the suitcase and you check the suitcase. Well, the suitcase is going to weigh a good amount of weight because of the gold, right? But okay, I pay an extra $100. You don't really need it insured because you're with it, right? It's gonna go, and then you're gonna get it off the rack, and then you've got the gold in your suitcase like that. So that might be another avenue is doing that, but then you're going to have to pay for the extra weight. Maybe you don't pack anything in the suitcase, but hide it in some t-shirts and wrap it up in some cellophane or paper or wax, something that would conceal it, and then just fly there, and you wouldn't really have to insure it. That could be another avenue. Might be cheaper because the FedEx UPS, you're going to say, well, it's worth apparently what, a couple $100,000. So you're going to insure $1 million. How much is that going to be? So this is the question. And then you're going to probably have to pay custom because it's going to America. So you'll probably have to pay, or somebody's going to have to pay a tax on it. So that could be another option. Just fly there, put it in your suitcase, and just pay for the extra weight. Oh, your suitcase weighs, because believe me, so let's say you go to United Airlines and you've got the gold in your suitcase. So you take it up to the counter and you go, here it is, and I know I'm overweight. And they'll charge, okay, it's going to be another $200 for the weight. You go, that's fine. And then they stamp it, and it's going to your destination. And that's fine. And then it gets there, and you take it off the conveyor, and you got it. And off you go. It's not drugs, so the dogs aren't going to smell it. And then you got the gold, and you give it to her when you're with her. And then she's got to find a coin store or somewhere that's going to be able to, if she wants the cash one, if she wants to, she'll need a safe and put it there. So this is why does she need the two? Why doesn't she wait till you get married and then you move to the US and you bring the gold with you, and then you don't have to worry about this, and then you can just drive and you can keep the gold in the car. I drove up from Alabama with my gold and my baseball cards in my safe, and I left it in my car buried under towels. So it was apparent I was moving, but nobody saw a safe. I never had a problem. And I was like making sure, yeah, that safe's there. But probably the easiest thing for you would be to drive, put it in your car. Your problem is, because you're in Canada, is to go through customs. And I don't know that you have to declare it, but then you're taking a gamble. Are they going to pull me over or not? You can say, I'm just going to Vegas. I'm just driving. I just want to drive to Vegas. And are they going to stop you? I don't know. I know it's getting weird at the border. It's taking a long time. I got pulled over once. I was going to Windsor. No, I was going to London, Ontario. And I'm in the car and I'm going through the tunnel. And then I get to the other side. They go, you got anything to declare? I go, no, nothing. I'm just going to vacation. They pulled me over because I was vacationing in London. He said, nobody vacations in London. I said, I just wanted to drive 2 hours away, and I like Canada. And the next thing I knew, they were ripping my car apart looking for apparently guns. And I just was laughing. I go, I don't have any guns. I don't have any drugs. Like, what are you doing? And they're ripping my car out. And I'm virtually just laughing my ass. What are you wasting your time on me for? And then I went in and the lady said, oh, it's just a random search. And I said, bullshit. Says, I don't have anything. I have no record. What are you guys doing? And I couldn't believe they were that adamant for some reason. And their response was, nobody vacations in London. You go to Toronto, you go to Montreal, you know, but nobody goes Niagara Falls. I couldn't believe it. It definitely has to be declared anything with a value of over 10 grand. Well, what? We're at the airport. So you're at the airport in Canada and you just put it in your suitcase and off it goes. Who are you declaring it to? So when you land in America, then yeah, you would have to declare it. And then you're going to, I guess, pay for bringing it in, which I never could understand why. Well, I'm not sure if you pay or you just declare it. I'm bringing this in. So I'm not really sure how it works. I've never declared anything. I've never had stuff that I had to declare. So even when I bring an ounce of gold, I don't declare it because I'm not selling it. If you know, when I met Jenna in Italy, I gave her the ounce of gold. It wasn't for selling purposes. But yeah, it does have to be declared. Okay, so again, if you're getting a lot of gold, buy a safe, put some stuff in front of it, make it unambiguous that nobody really sees the safe. It's in a, you know, maybe you have some in a Cool Whip container in your freezer, like I'm saying. Who's going to look there? Nobody. Who would think you have that in the freezer? So that's part of what you're doing. And then you must realize nobody knows you have it. Right? You're not advertising, hey, I got gold in my house. So nobody knows you have it. Like I said, I've had my baseball cards. I mean, I probably got this in 1993 or so, 94. Now it wasn't worth a lot back then, but now that they do PSA 9s and 10s, and now it's worth 100 grand, I still don't worry. I don't insure it. I don't, but it's not graded. So I got to get it graded, but nobody really, oh, I know he's got a Joe Montana rookie card in his house. I mean, nobody knows that. Nobody there, people who are thieves are looking at jewelry stores and banks and casinos like in 3,000 miles from Graceland. They're not really looking to go into an older apartment thinking, oh, yeah, we're going to get rich here. So you got to get into the mind of the people who are doing it, are going after Bill Gates' house and the rich neighborhoods. And I'm not in a rich neighborhood. It's an okay neighborhood, but it's not a rich neighborhood. It's not a poor neighborhood either, but it's not, you would have no idea what I have, and that's good. One guy said to me, oh, you don't have anything here. And I said, perfect. Yeah, you just keep thinking that. I said it to myself. It definitely, yeah. So you're going to declare it. And I don't know how much that's going to cost, but we'll figure that out. All right. Back to E.B. Tucker.
2001, I got to tour the vault. It was unbelievable. I mean, it was one of my first times I ever saw gold.
So why is he
in that
saying this?
quantity,
Nobody
like
cares.
those huge bars. And what they were doing is they were moving them around on pallets. They had these special aluminum shoes.
Who cares?
They dropped it. The gold obviously is not like so easily there. And the reason why is because nobody wants to buy this gold bar and spend the money. Now, I like to have this gold bar because I'm in a place in my life where, like, it makes a lot of sense to me to not have a mortgage on any of my properties and to have a gold bar because I don't really want to go back to work and struggle and I don't want to do that again. I did that. There's a lot of people that are unpleasant that I had to work with, and I don't even want to talk to those people. So I'm in a place where I'm happy to own something like a home, and I own my office, and it's not as nice as you would think, right? It's not like I've got this palatial home or something. I have like a really cool, all my properties are super, super cool, but they're not big. And people need to understand that that's my philosophy. Now, all my friends that run funds, I have a lot of friends that run major funds. They absolutely will not buy gold. They'll buy futures. They'll buy options on futures. They'll buy unallocated gold or allocated gold or some sort of synthetic exposure to gold because it's a trade for them. Everybody is like this. Everybody is like this. You know, JP Morgan almost had a major silver problem thanks to the Wall Street silver guys. Do you know that this was actually almost a real problem? I'm not sure. I know the Wall Street silver guys. I'm not sure if they realize they almost caused a major problem. Why is that? Well, JP Morgan says, well, we had the metal, we just couldn't get it. Right, because nobody wants to own the metal because it's wasted money. It's dead money. There's a concept called dead money where the money's just sitting there. Like my Morgan Stanley guy says to me, all your property is dead money. I said, Sanj, I don't want to, I like dead money because I'm living in the property. I don't need to borrow against the property so that you can buy more tech stocks or something. I'll give you some money to buy some tech stocks, right? Like tech is the future. I'll give you some money to do that. But I don't need my house to collateralize a trade in the tech market. But see, everybody says if we have $1 million of the gold sitting in the vaults, that's dead money. We need to monetize that gold. So we got to loan it out. And then the person that buys that says, I can't just sit here with this gold. I got to loan this gold out. You know, I got to get some.
So that's what I was talking about in the beginning. So he's saying nobody wants to hold the physical. So they're all brainwashed because that's the only way you do it is to own the physical because they can't inflate the physical. What good is an ETF or a stock? That's what he was talking about was ETFs, the derivatives and options and stuff. So they want to own that because they want to keep their money alive so they can make some money. So they want to make money on the derivative going up $50. Instead, they missed the big picture of owning the gold and watching the gold go from 1,800 to 2,900. So they're missing the whole point, right? That's the problem. And then they want, and listen, he's listening to his Morgan Stanley guy who's saying buy tech stocks, which is exactly the point. The guy wants to keep you in the game. He wants to make his commissions. So you're listening to a guy who only wants to make commissions. The best thing you should do is own the physical gold. That's what you want because they can't take it from you. You've got it. They can't inflate it. And this is the thing. They can't print it or inflate it. Now, most people don't even understand what inflation is. But as I said, you start with this and then you keep printing it until it's worthless, which is where we're at now. So now you need new money. Well, you never have to worry about that with gold. And that's the other thing he doesn't understand is inflation. He doesn't understand you print this, it has no value. Gold keeps its value. And that's the simple part. I don't want to be in stocks because they're going to crash. I just showed you JP Morgan guy, Diamond, just sold all his stock. What do you think is happening to the value of JP Morgan stock today? It's getting crushed. So you own tax, you own whatever. It's all priced in dollars. You're fucked. It's all worthless. So this is the problem that you have when you listen to these. You're listening to a salesman who wants to make commission off of you. So he wants you, he doesn't want you in gold because there's no commission, but he doesn't get that, this DB Cooper guy. I think he was in the plane crash. He stole all the money, DB Cooper.
And return on my investment, basis points. Everybody does this, okay? And so then what happens is that the London guys say, London people are very cheap, by the way, so they don't want to pay for anything, not even like storage for their gold. Well, we got to get some more gold because we got all these complicated loans going on. So we got to get more gold. Okay, what are we going to do? Well, we got to go to the countries that produce the gold, and we got to get the United States because we're too cheap to have like a real, presence. We got to get the U.S. to tell them like Argentina. You got a choice here, buddy. You either want the warheads pointing at you or pointing out, defending you. And if you want that, you got to send your gold to London. That's what they did. You saw this, right? They send like tons and tons of gold.
No
to
idea
London.
what he's talking
All
about.
these countries send the gold to New York, send it to London, and then they can't get it back. Why can't they get it back? Because it's the denominator.
It's gone.
Remember in math, you have the numerator, the denominator. It's the denominator of this gigantic gold daisy chain. Okay, the gold is there, but what happens is it's contractually involved in so many things that nobody. So what I say to people is, just get the kilo bar. Just buy the thing. You'll be. It's up 40% in the last year. 40%. Are you kidding? 40%. And people say it's not enough. I'm like, well, what do you expect? You know.
See, he misses the point. You hold the physical because you can't print it. You can't inflate it. It can't lose its value. That's why you buy it. All these other things are about to collapse, the stocks and everything. The banks are going out. JP Morgan's selling because his bank's in trouble. That's the point he doesn't get. It can't be inflated or printed. That's why you have the physical. That's the number one reason, because it'll go up in value and it can't go down in value by printing it. And it's all controlled by these central banks who are buying on comex, which is a bullshit market and about to blow up. And that's what we have. So when we see a day like today and it's down $30, $40, we're just scratching our head going, well, it's just bullshit. We'll wait. And in a week, it'll be 3,000 again. So that's really, again, point number two, he misses.
Like the financial advisor tells you stocks go up 8% a year for the last 100 years. And you make 40% with dead money. And you need more? You need more? What are you going to do with more? Well, I'm going to make more so I can be happier. But you're not going to be any happier. Look, the way to look at this is the last thing I want to say about this. The way to look at this, if you want to really get your head right, if you want to be rich, okay, you don't like, I play a lot of tennis, right?
Who
Do you
cares?
know when you start working? I hit a one-hand backhand. It's a hard stroke, okay? Do you know when you start working on the one-hand backhand? As soon as you start playing. And do you know when you work on it? All the time. And do you know when you stop working on it? Never, okay? If you want to be rich, everybody says they want to be rich. Start behaving like a person that has money, okay? Start behaving.
The fuck is he
as if
talking
you have
about?
money, and then you will have money.
Oh.
You don't start behaving like a person that has money once you already have money. You don't start working on your one-handed backhand once you're in a tournament. It's impossible because you have no skills. If you have a small amount of money, start treating the money with respect. The way you do that is you say to yourself, what is an appropriate percentage of my money to have in gold? Probably very small.
100%.
What is an appropriate percentage to have in Bitcoin? Small.
None.
What is an appropriate percentage mining stock? Very small.
None.
Okay, it's high risk. Could go a lot, could go to zero. Probably will go to zero. So that's how you look at it. Now, how do you do this? Make a pie chart. It's so easy. Even children can do it. And decide to yourself how big of a piece of the pie should each thing have. This is how you think if you want to have money. And if you do this, money comes to you because money goes to the...
What the fuck is this guy talking about? Pie charts. And if you think about money, you get money. No, you got to earn money. Why would you have anything in Bitcoin? Why would you have anything in stocks? I got everything in gold because you can't inflate gold. And the dollar's collapsing because they're printing too much of it. This guy I find very condescending, like a 3-year-old can do it. Like, go fuck off. I don't like hearing that. I don't see how the pie chart. So he doesn't understand that the paper is worthless. You want to be in gold because they can't inflate it, but he can't understand that concept. That's his first mistake, but I don't like the way he talks. If I want to be rich, to act rich, no, if I want to be rich, I have to have gold and let the gold go up. That's how I become rich, or a Montana card or a Rolex watch. Physical assets that are real, that are limited, and there's high demand for is how you make money. I paid $100 for this card. Now, if it goes to a PSA 10 and it's worth 100,000, that's how you get rich, by having the knowledge to know, oh, it's Montana. He was a great quarterback. I want his rookie card. Brady, he's a great quarterback. I got his rookie card. That's using your intelligence to buy assets cheap and then they go up because there's high demand for certain players, and you make money. That's how you do it, not just by thinking rich. You got to be smart. You got to understand concepts like very low supply, very high demand makes price go up. And what do we have in gold? Very low supply, very high demand, and the gold price is higher. That's an easy concept. I don't know what he's talking about with pie charts and buying stocks. Why would you buy stocks and buy Bitcoin? Why would you buy Bitcoin? See, now he's kissing Bitcoin's ass. All right.
Person.
A little bit more.
respects The person that says, "Oh, it's just play money. I'm just going to buy some meme coins and hope my life changes." That person never makes any money, ever. Believe me. And you know what they do? They blame people. They say, "Oh, that person on YouTube told me to do something."
Well, first of all, people that have bought Bitcoin have made a lot of money. So I don't know what he's talking about. Yeah, the one guy blamed me that he wasn't in Bitcoin, but maybe he's feeling a little bit better. I saw Bitcoin yesterday was 84,000 or 83,000. So when it hits 75, how nervous are the Bitcoin people? Well, I'm not nervous because I know it's going to 1 million. Okay, keep dreaming. At what point do you wish you would have sold it and taken it? Maybe it's 50,000. Maybe it's how long do you hold it as it goes down? So you've got to understand concepts and theories.
I did it, and it didn't work out. And so I hate that person. And they caused all this misery for me. And now I have to work 3 jobs to try to make the money back that I lost. And it's like, you know what's going to happen? You're going to lose it again because you don't get it. Start thinking like somebody with money. And I think when you do that, you're going to say to yourself, guess what makes a lot of sense to me? A couple of these, And people say, well, I only have a small amount of money. You can buy a fractional ETF now. You know that, right? You can buy a fractional ETF. You can buy like a tenth of a share of IBIT Bitcoin exposure, and then you have Bitcoin exposure. Make a pie chart. You can. It's easy. I mean, with $100 theoretically.
This guy is talking about ETFs. So I have I just want to get to his inflation point. And I don't know where it is, but who would buy an ETF? You don't own anything. It's the stupidest thing you can do is buy an ETF, and yet he's saying, "Oh, buy ETF." I liked when he said buy gold. That made sense. If you don't have a lot of money, you can buy a 1/10 or 1/4 ounce of gold or an ounce of silver. You always want the physical. You don't want these ETF. What's this guy? He's a fucking idiot, man.
You can have a diversified portfolio. And I don't mean like diversify yourself out of growth. What I'm just saying is start thinking about things as in like what do I want to have for the coming war? Start thinking like that and you'll win the war. The subtitle of the book, Why Gold, Why Now? It's the war against your wealth and how to win it. You know that because you listen to the book. But I mean, I don't think people really want to win the war. I think they want to gamble. That's what they want to do is they want to like have some like Powerball ticket or something. Nobody wins the Powerball. And the people that do, they end up losing all the money. Do you ever see those shows about the lottery people? Those people, like, they all end up committing suicide or bankrupt or in jail or something. Why do you want to do
I have
that?
no idea
Why would
what
you
he's
want to win the
talking
Powerball?
about.
Not one person wins the Powerball and has a good life.
How do you know?
Yeah, in terms of the war for the wealth that you were talking about there, I'm assuming that war on your wealth is really inflation, isn't it? It's quantitative easing and inflation and the
It's never going to stop. You have to have inflation. The reason you have to have inflation is because you've inflated this gigantic bubble, this gigantic debt bubble. And if it like this last few days, markets, getting like mauled. If this bubble contracts, quantitative tightening is happening, right? That means the Fed is letting bonds mature. So the money's coming out of the system. Trump's firing all these people. Money's coming out of DC. So this is all deflationary. What happens when it's deflationary? These assets start finding real value, which is not very high. Like you have all these. I mean, by the way, this morning I just was on the phone with someone that was like trying to run a scheme on me to buy stock from me, privately held stock at too low of a price. And I was giving them a hard time because I was saying, you guys, you sell stock at this price and you try to buy it from me at this price. Which one is the real price? And they said, well, it's a private company. We can name the price whatever we want. I said, yeah, that's right. As long as you can keep selling it, you can name the price as much as you want. Good luck to you. I wish you the best of luck selling it higher and higher because I have stock and, I hope you can sell it for like $1 gazillion. But I don't think you can, because I think philosophically you have a lot of problems, but that's for you to figure out. So my point is that like if you pull money out of the debt system, it's worth a lot less. For example, if mortgages were 20% interest, your house is worth a lot less. Okay, if mortgages are 1%,
Okay, he just doesn't get it. First of all, inflation is printing the money, which he doesn't get. And he says, well, once you have it, you can't get rid of it. Sure, you can get rid of it. We're in a debt system. Yeah, but your money's worthless. So the way to not have inflation is to have gold-backed currency. Then you can't inflate it because inflation's printing the money. But he doesn't get that. So he sits there and he's saying everybody wants to get rich and they want to be in mutual funds and ETFs and all this shit because they want their money active so they can make money because their Morgan Stanley guy is telling them because he wants to make commission selling them stuff. Doesn't get inflation. If you take money out of the system, it doesn't. First of all, you're just not renewing the bonds. Doesn't mean you're taking money out. There's still $160 trillion printed, and that's not going anywhere. So if you don't re-up the bonds because nobody wants them, well, that's just what's normal. Trump getting rid of the employees is not deflationary. There's just he saves money by not having these people working, which is a good thing. You want to cut costs. He's trying to get to a balanced budget. I don't know that he can do that. But deflation is not real. Basically, it's strictly prices going down, which is the market. Less people can afford barbecue ribs at $45, they don't buy it. And then the price goes down because they can't sell it. It's the market, it's the buyers and the sellers lining up. So if you raise your price to here, there's nobody home to buy it. So what do? You lower it. Now, how is that deflation? That is just simply the market going down because there's less money out there to buy. So therefore the market goes down. That's what happens. And that's not a bad thing. Actually, if you have money, it's better because things are cheaper now. And I don't see what's wrong with that. As far as your house and the interest rates, that's because the interest rates, the price of the house doesn't go down. Let's say you have a $500,000 house and 1% interest. Okay, it cost me $505 to buy it, and now you got 20% interest. It's going to cost me $600,000 to buy it. That's the problem with high interest rates with your house. Is the total? It's the house plus the interest get you the cost. So if the rates go up, your house doesn't go down. It's just it goes even higher. It costs you more to buy it. But the 500,000 didn't go down because it's 1% or 20%. I don't know what he's talking about, but he doesn't explain what he's talking about. He's a very poor communicator. He talks as if he knows, and he says stuff, but he can't explain it. So we know he's full of shit, basically. A little bit more.
your house is worth a lot more. So
No, it
once
isn't.
you understand that, you realize that like you're going to always have this inflation, because if you don't, everything is going to radically shrink, which means the tax base is going to radically shrink. And people say, good, that's what should happen.
Yeah.
Is that really what you want?
Yeah.
Because your mood improves, your neighbor's mood improves when their house goes up in value. Set it down 80% and they're going to be at your house trying to kill you. So, I mean, like, you're always going to have this erosion. It's always going to be there. And so the game is to outrun the erosion. That's the game. Now, right now.
Okay, the erosion is because they keep printing the money. If the money is backed by gold, there is no erosion or devaluation of the money. So this tells me he's a finance guy. He calls it erosion instead of devaluation and inflation. So what he's trying to say is you're always going to have inflation. So I think where he's going is knowing you're always going to have it, how do you survive it? And that's what we talk about. That's what the gold and silver. And it's because you can't print it and you can't inflate it. Now let's see what his answer is.
It's going backwards. And so your game is to be out of that. So, people that read the Tucker letter realize that like we still own stocks, but we have a lot of cash and we have T-bills that pay like 4.3%. And everybody gives me a hard time about that. I'm like, guess what? Like, that's your money. Take advantage of opportunity. Well, people are like, where's the opportunity? It's coming. It just doesn't make any. I mean, I know a guy that bought Bank of America for $3 in the crash, the financial crash. You know why? Because he had money. Most people had no money because they just like sat still like deer in the headlights while the thing goes down, and they just sit there. They do nothing. So you're a gambler all the way up, and then you're a statue all the way down. It's like, what is that? That's just ridiculous.
How much can we look to Argentina for really, I guess, the experience that they've had over the last year? They've seen inflation come down quite rapidly from.
So I go there every year, by the way. So in the Tucker letter, I was there when the week that Milei was elected. And if you go back and look at that issue of the Tucker letter, I had to check into a hotel. They have 16 exchange rates then, and I had to check into a hotel with like this much cash, and so they had to run a machine to count it all. But now I went back. I go every year in November. I went back this year, and I had all this cash, and the guy's like, "What do you have the cash for? You can use your credit card now, and you get the same rate." He goes, "In fact, we prefer it." So everything is like straightening out there. And if you think about it, Milei, like, he kicked off this movement that's been going around the world now. I mean, even like, the Germans are like, well, we're not going to go as far as, the orange guy in America. That's what I call Trump, or, I have other like fun names for him because I think the guy is very interesting to watch. But Milei kicked this off. That was like the first domino. And so look, I mean, be careful what you wish for with this inflation battle. I mean, if things deflate, I'm not really sure if people are ready for that. Because if things deflate, what do you want? You want this, right?
No.
If things deflate. Do you really? And does anybody out there have as much cash as me on their?
Okay, things deflate. We still want gold because the price of gold's not going to go down. You're deflating this, but that means you're burning this, right? You're taking from 160 trillion to 150 trillion, and that's not going to help it. It's still worthless. This is worthless. This is zero. I don't know what he's talking about with deflation. Why you would ever want cash or be in a T-bill, you have to be out of your fucking mind because they don't have a value. Anything on the Titanic is sunk. Why do you want to be on the Titanic in T-bills, in these fractional ETFs, in paper? Why would I want to be in dollars? They're not worth anything. He doesn't understand inflation. The first guy asked him the question about Argentina. They got their inflation under control. There's no way they've got their inflation under control. Once you print the money, it's worthless. Once it's worthless, you have to come out with new money. You cannot fix inflation. It's gone. The genie's out of the bottle, as they say. So once I print 160 of these, this has no value. Once I print 160 trillion of these have no value. Neither have value, and you can't get it back. There is no way to get it back. Here's what happens. You printed this, right? So you have these, and then what happens is the only way you print, there's no value. The only way you can survive is to come out with new money. So now there's a USD 2 and there's a Euro 2. These are new bills, and they haven't been inflated yet. So it's just a temporary. These are new. They're still limited until they print them to death, and then they're good. That's why you must have the gold standard. It's the only way. But inflation is never good. I don't know what he's taught. He doesn't even understand it. He's taught, do you want deflation? Do I want prices to go down? Sure, I do. Doesn't mean the value of the dollar is already gone. That's why we buy gold, because gold is counter to it, and gold will never lose its value once we get off of fucking comex. Like today's day, this would never happen if we were in a free market. But that's first of all, Argentina has not stopped inflation because you printed the money. And this is where I struggle with these people, because they don't have a clue what inflation is. But they'll say, oh, in Argentina, it's down. And we don't want deflation because You want money during deflation. You don't get it. You don't care about deflation. If prices come down and I got gold, that's great. My gold's worth more. I can buy more with it, right? If this goes from $100 a bottle to $40 a bottle, you want to call it deflation. I call it that's the market. The market won't pay the higher price because we don't have as much money, so we'll pay 40. But if my gold's still gold and it's still worth a lot, great. I only have to pay 40 instead of 100 for my whiskey. That's fine. Or my ribs or my chicken or my veggies, whatever I'm buying, it's cheaper. That's fine. Why do I want the prices to keep going up? Because the dollar's worthless. Basically, I don't want a worthless dollar, which is what inflation is. That's what it means. You've printed the money to death. Why would I want that? So again, not understanding it, but this is what we're facing. Idiots like this and the questions and the inflation, and they don't get it. They just don't get it. And what can we do? We just sit there. That's why this is an example of listening to your financial planner at Morgan Stanley say, no, you don't want your money in gold just sitting there. You want your money active. You want to buy stocks and get in and out and whatever. And because that's his commission. That's exactly what it is. He makes the commission on you if you're in the stock market, if you're in a real estate trust, if you're in the bond market, if you're in the bank, but you don't make money on if you're in gold. And that's the bottom line. And he doesn't say that. So a little bit more of this idiot, but I don't want to get too frustrated with this guy, but I'm teaching you.
I doubt it. I doubt it. I mean, like, because think about the math on that. Because everything is going to radically go down in value, and the dollar radically goes up if you deflate. Because if the opposite.
Why would the dollar go up if you deflate? Do you understand what? So he's saying if you burn the money, if there's less money, it goes up. It's got value. I don't think so. The money's got no value now. So the only way you can win is to come out with the new money. Get rid of the Reichsbank and get into the Deutschmark. Get out of the Reichsmark, 1920, get into the Deutschmark. Get out of the Zimbabwe, get into the ZiG. That's the only way you beat inflation is to come out because it's in this dollar to kill these dollars. All right, we're no longer using this dollar. We now have USD number 2, which are not inflated yet, but because they're not backed by gold, they soon will be inflated. But at this point, they're not. That's how Germany did it. And when Hitler took over, they were broke too. That's why he went and stole all the gold. Because gold, you can't print, you can't inflate, it never loses its value. But anything in paper, there's no way the dollar goes. How can the dollar be worth more? The dollar can never be worth more until you switch to the new dollar. That's how you do it. But this is done. This is toast. This is gone. This is worthless. There's nothing you can do to make this have value. I assume you can burn 150 trillion of it, maybe, and then it'll have value, but just make new money, basically, right? All right, what does the idiot have to say?
You don't want these, and you want to own things that are going to inflate. And so I think you're in this position where you're like, let's be careful what you wish for.
Well, I don't think anyone's asking for deflation, are they? I mean, I think
sure. I want prices down.
What people are looking for is just less quantitative easing, less devaluation of their currency, right?
Slower inflation.
Slower inflation, back to 1-2%. I think is what people.
There you go.
Tend to be.
Yeah, I mean, let's price fix. Let's price fix the inflation. Like, imagine if they price fix the interest rates, right? So, like, it'd be funny if they said we've decided inflation will be 2%. Anything over that's against the law. I mean, like, you see what I mean? Like, think people like play it out, right? I mean, like, imagine, like, I wouldn't put it past the current administration to be like, that's the deal. I mean, things could get really when you control a system, right? When you because nowadays we don't have a free market. We have a centrally controlled market. It's really hard. Like, I mean, it's hard to keep all those parts from acting crazy, right? If you think about it, like, it's the free market, the buyers and sellers set the price, but in the centrally controlled market, like, the central committee sets the price. And then you have all these people that are affected by that. And so they're like periodically becoming very upset. You know, that's really what like caused the regime change in Argentina, and that's what caused it in the U.S. too. People were like, they're not happy, they're upset about these things, and so how's that going to play out? I mean, that's the deal. That's what's going on right now.
Aside from the tariffs that we saw recently, where it had a bit of a knock-on effects with people moving gold from London and onto the COMEX.
I actually don't believe that. Just so you know, I'm writing about that this. No, I don't. I'm writing about that this week because that's a headline, but I actually don't think that's true. I think probably what happened is the reason why gold was behaving the way it was the last few years is because of an extremely well-managed financialized market. What that means is that if you were to watch when the gold price got hit every now and then, you would have like half a year of mine supply traded in the futures market in one session. But that's gone down. So if you notice, like what's been happening recently is on a down day, the volume on the futures is lower. It's a lot lower. And what that means is that the trade is not as liquid. And I think what happened was that, because see, if you want me to fix the price for you of, say, cotton, I can fix the price of cotton for you. And the way I would do it is I would manage that price using futures. Because if you gave me like several $1 billion of futures credit with an exchange, right? Like say I'm on RJ O'Brien's platform and I'm like, you know, I'm going to control the price of cotton. It's pretty easy. If it gets too high, I sell into the market. And then it goes back down, I buy that back. It's very easy.
It's very easy to do, but Comex can't do it with gold because gold keeps running. I don't know what this guy, he's on drugs. I can't listen to him anymore. Let me give him a nice comment. Excuse me. Excuse me. All right, as always, I will show you what I did. Here's my comment. Who's this idiot? He doesn't understand inflation, COMEX, gold, financial advisors. Shake my head, the professor. I'm done with this clown. So this is the problem. A guy like this talks to people. He writes a book on gold, and he thinks there's only 2 books on gold. I don't write just a specific book. Like when I do my class, gold's in it, but it's not. There's not too much to talk about. I do it pretty quickly, but I want to discuss other subjects. So I do gold, but not just gold. He doesn't. There's no such thing as deflation. Prices go down. That's the market. We have a free market here. It's just COMEX is a price fixed market, as I say, about to become a free market once they dump it. He doesn't think gold came from London and they just set it for the hell of it. I don't think so. And it's been a derivative market, but they can't price fix it because it keeps going up. They'd want it at 2,000. They can't hold it at 2,000. There's too much physical buying going on with gold. Silver is price fixed, as we say, because of the derivatives, and they keeping the price down, but it still can't be controlled. They want the price down to $25, and it's 30, 31. Let's see what it's at now. So silver's 31.48. Gold jumped up. It's 28.82, and it'll be back at 2,900 in a few hours. Typical thing. So again, this is the problem when we talk. This is why I like to bring these things up, because this is what we're fighting. We don't understand why people don't just own physical gold. I've never heard the term dead money before. and active money before. Again, why would you listen to a financial planner? Now, here's a guy from Morgan Stanley saying to be in stocks. Geez, big surprise. Oh, because you don't make commission in gold. So they call it dead money to try to get you going, oh, wait, yeah, my money isn't worth anything. Our money's solid. Our money, we can't lose on our money. It's only going up because they can't print it, because that's the most important concept you have to understand, is that's the money. The money is very limited, and not, you can't inflate it in gold. And that's the best money to have, is money that you don't inflate, not money you do inflate or deflation. There's nothing wrong with prices coming down. If I went to the store now and I could get cauliflower for 52 cents, I'd love it. Why do I need to pay $3 for it? There's nothing wrong with prices coming down, if as long as it's through productivity. And the way you're printing money, prices won't come down, because it's simply, you printed too much money. It takes more dollars to buy it. Argentina has not fixed that problem. They didn't go on the gold standard as they should have. And with the dollar, and they're collapsing. Their debt is huge and their inflation's huge. Even though they want to do it by prices, again, that's not real. That's not how you measure inflation. So they're measuring, look, our inflation's down, and it's not. It's all bullshit and fairy tales. Inflation cannot come down. You only way to get rid of inflation. What the fuck? Where's that coming from? All right. So this is the point. You get rid of the dollar. So the only way to beat inflation is you either back this by gold, in which it immediately switches, or you do what Zimbabwe did. They came out with the ZIG. So the Zimbabwe was 30,000. $1 bought you 30,000 Zimbabwe dollars. And in this, then they came out with the gold back ZIG, and $1 bought you 10. So it went from 30,000 to 10. But you notice they didn't gold back the Zimbabwe dollar. They actually came out with a new dollar called the ZIG, and that was backed by gold. So that's what will happen. This will go away, and they'll say, oh, we're introducing a new dollar backed by gold. These guys will have to do the same thing. So that's how you beat inflation, is you basically, it's the dollar that's been printed too much. You just get rid of it. But you need a dollar in the system to have a market, because you have to pay, and you get paid and you buy things in the market, and you need some medium of exchange. And we've chosen this because this is easy to put in our wallet, and it's easy to have on a debit and a credit card. So that's why you do that. So that's really the whole key to it. All right, so let's see. I was watching the 74 Raiders Steeler game yesterday. The first Steeler when they went to the Super Bowl. This is the week after Miami. That See Hands game was this week before, and then this game was the next week, Oakland Pitt, and they said that in the game the spread was Oakland -6. Boy, I would have had a fortune on Pitt and 12. Oh my God. But I didn't do teasers till 76, 77. I probably played Pitt +6, but I would have had a fortune on Pitt +12. With that defense, and probably the under. It ended 20. It was 24-13. It was a 37. So probably stayed under because Oakland had a good offense. So they probably would have been in the 40s, the total on the game. Andy Scheckman does something on, we talked about the British gold. That was a really good one yesterday. I changed to this. This is my look sometimes this is my video this is from the Wynn Casino in Vegas. Out front, they have these waterfalls. So I've done that. Andy Scheckman talks about 2 major U.S. banks just forced the Fed to do something. The government has lost all control of this. So let's take a look at Andy Scheckman.
My team has made the comex Growth Conference available on virtual for free. Since 2020, we've seen a very slow, methodical, yet concerted effort by very sophisticated traders ranging from hedge funds, commercial banks, sovereign wealth funds, and even central banks standing for delivery. And we've seen a slow bleed down of the COMEX market, all of it going from west to east. We've seen a slow bleed down of the London bullion market going from west to east. And everyone talked about all this metal moving, to China, to Russia, to India, Saudi Arabia, to the BRICS countries, moving away from the West through de-dollarization. Of course, the weaponization of the treasury market aided that de-dollarization and in fact, supercharged it, etc. All of this has been well documented, right? And that's stuff that I've talked about now for, 4 years plus, going on 5. So since November of last year, some really crazy things have begun to happen. The United States, I've been doing this 35 years, and I don't remember a time where the United States has not been a net exporter of gold. And so, that was always the mantra. The West is selling all of its gold to the East, might not ever come back, right? Since November, the United States has become a net importer of gold. Now, what happened in November? Trump won the election. Back in 2017, all those central banks were given the inside scoop and began to front run. My guess is something very similar happened this time. Right? You don't just go from net exporter to net importer for the hell of it. Something happened. And my guess is the Trump administration, who was obviously prepared for this new environment, started speaking to people that were influential, if you know what I mean. And we've seen a massive shift, from exporting gold to importing gold. Since November, somewhere in the neighborhood of 13.
Okay, so what's happening is we have to pay our derivatives, and we've done these derivatives for years without any physical gold. And now people are taking physical delivery. So when they do these little options and derivatives. So when they do the derivatives and they use 4% of gold and 96% of an option of paper, and then China says, I want to take physical. You owe me 100% physical. And when they do that, then what happens is they need to give the gold up. As we said, July 1st, they need to settle all this. So why are we an importer? Because we have to pay up on all these derivatives we're doing. And the only way we're going to pay up on it is to actually have the physical gold. And that's why all the gold's coming in. Now let's see Andy's answer. That's what's happening. Let's see what he says.
Million ounces and 50 million ounces, 13 million ounces of gold and 50 million ounces of silver have moved from the London vaults to the United States vaults. And that's just London. Now you have, Singapore, and you have Brazil, and you have Switzerland, the refineries. You have smaller exchanges.
Okay, no gold leaves Singapore or China or Hong Kong. So that's a false one. I don't know how much is in Brazil, Switzerland we get, but it's a refinery. So it's taking gold from other countries and melting it down and turning it into whatever country, mostly China. So not sure what he's saying.
Where metal has been shifted into the United States. You even have some from Shanghai that is finding its way into the United States.
No gold from China is coming in.
Conventional wisdom was that it was the threat of Trump tariffs, because many of these contracts that are issued by the commercial banks on COMEX and on the LBMA are what is called rehypothecated or naked. Rehypothecated mean this same contract, if this represents a COMEX contract for 100 ounces, is sold to 20 different players. Right. Each one thinking they have the ability to stand for delivery. If all 20 stand for delivery, much like a fractional reserve system, if everyone goes into the bank and says, give me my money, very few will get it. Same thing with Bernie Madoff. It was a great game until everyone said, give me my money. Very few got it. And the same thing is true here. The COMEX and the LBMA are largely fractionally reserved, rehypothecated, and the majority of all the trades are naked, meaning nothing standing behind it. In the example I gave you before using the comex, this means I'm not naked. Now, if I'm making that trade with nothing in my hand and going short over here, that's naked. But if I have this long in my warehouse and this short, it's covered. If I had to cover, because if I sell something short on comex and you buy that contract and go long, you take the other side of it. Every contract has two parties. I go short, you go long. Well, your option could be, I want my gold, thank you very much. I'm going to stand for delivery. Now, no one ever did that. But this is where the problem comes into play. And all of this gold that's been coming from London is beginning to show that. Now, London is what's called a T+1 settlement, right? T+1. And right now, they are running at a rate of roughly 6 to 8 weeks back. So how does that happen? How can an exchange that has, for example, right now, they have 280 million ounces on paper in gold, but only 36 million available for delivery, or that is called.
See, that's the float. So a float is me saying, yeah, I only got one Montana card, but I'm going to sell 100. So 100 people buy this card thinking there's 100 of them, and there's not. And I got to come up with 99 Montanas. And how am I going to do that? I got to go in auctions and buy 99 Montanas to sell to the 100. And that's what's happening here. So they're trying to sell all this gold on leverage, 4%, but everybody's taking delivery because nobody wants the paper because it's worthless. So the whole moral of this story is, since this has no value, you're going into things that have value. Hence the Titanic. So as the Titanic sinks, you go to a lifeboat. As the dollar has no value because you're inflating it, printing it to zero, because you keep extending your government and you keep needing more and more money. And so you keep printing more and more money, thinking, well, that's okay. We can just keep printing more and more money. No, you can't. You keep printing it. It makes it worth nothing. And that's where we're at. This is worth nothing. And that's the problem. And so they go, where can we go? Where's our lifeboat? And the only lifeboat is gold. But since you're running these stupid derivatives where it's 4% gold and 96% air, but the Chinese and the Russians who are taking the delivery of these options and comex want the full amount. They don't want the paper, they want the physical, and that's what's happening. And comex is just about done because they can't. I don't know what's going on the last few days where the price has gone down. Who were you still going to short? You're still going to come up with the 96% physical gold. Where the fuck are you going to get that from when it doesn't exist? The thing with gold is it's very limited, 200,000 tons. And of the 200,000 tons, 200,000 tons is gone. There's nothing left. Yeah, maybe you pull a little bit, a couple thousand tons out of the ground every year, but there's too much demand. It's already gone. And so how do you get the other 99 Montanas that I need? I need 100. I got one. How do I get the other 99? I got to go into auctions and buy them, but I got to pay 100,000 in auction. I can't get them for $100. And that's the problem. So the U.S. has to go buy the gold, the physical gold, which is what's happening. This is why you own physical. But yet these other guys, this DB Cooper that we just had on, doesn't understand that. I'm not sure if Sheckman does or not. I'm not going to waste our time with any more. But basically, that's what's happened. Let me go into my other videos. Let's see if there's anything worth it. So we see JP Morgan selling all his. This was an interesting one, just a sidebar on Lord of the Rings. The question is, did Frodo curse Gollum to fall into the cracks of Mount Doom? And it actually is probably what happened, because he keeps saying to Gollum, the ring will hold you to it. So in the beginning, when they finally meet in the beginning of the second movie, and he takes Sting to his neck, and he says, and Gollum says, "I swear on the precious." He says, "I can't trust you." He says, "I'll swear on the precious." And he says, "The precious will hold you to it." And that's basically what happened at the end. He wasn't supposed to get the precious, and when he grabbed it, then the precious basically killed. It was basically the ring that threw him in Mount Doom. That was a pretty good thing there. So I watched that yesterday. I try to be diversified. I don't know, Zelensky, whatever. Useful Idiots we watched yesterday. Britain and Fort Knox we watched. All right. So let's see what else. So basically, it's just amazing how many people don't understand what inflation is, and then they'll say, "Oh, it's fine," which it isn't. And so basically, you to beat inflation, you get rid of this and come out with a new dollar, or you back it by gold. That's the only way you beat inflation. But people don't even seem to understand that. They don't understand you've ruined the medium of exchange you're using. So if you're using this, or if you're using this, they don't understand. They're trying to fix inflation, and they don't understand you can't. Once you've printed so much money, the only way to cure it is to get a new one. And now it's Euro number 2, USD number 2. That's the only way you cure inflation. You've already printed it to zero. But if the new dollar isn't backed by gold, that won't last long either. And that goes, CBDCs will never work because they're not backed by gold. They're the same thing. It's just digital instead of paper, but nobody wants it because nobody wants to be tracked. At least I can give Daria $100 for food, and that's between me and Daria, right? But the other of going to doing it on digital, how am I going to give her money digitally? How can I give her a CBDC so she can eat? How am I going to do that? Do I use PayPal and say I'm using my digital currency instead of my debit card or my bank account? Are we still going to have bank accounts? Are we still going to have money? How are we going to get paid? How are we going to pay for things? So I don't know that CBDCs, if it's anything like Bitcoin, I don't want anything to do with it. So that's basically what the concept that everybody misses. What else? So we've talked to Prophet about gold and receiving it and everything else. You want to hold it because you can't print it, basically. So if we understand concepts, why is there inflation? Because you print it. Do you need inflation? It's terrible. It's the worst thing you can have because you're holding something that has no value. It's sort of like a car that, when you buy a nice $90,000 Mercedes, it's got 0 miles on it, and then you put 100,000 miles. Well, it's been worn, so it's not worth as much. That's kind of what the dollar is. It's being worn, so it's not worth as much. And eventually the Mercedes goes to maybe $1,000 from 90 because you put 300,000 miles on. So you're using it. That's kind of what the dollar, it was worth $1, and now it's worth a penny, and now it goes to zero. And every dollar that's printed because the government wants to give handouts and buy votes and print, you're not relying on the economy to produce. You're saying, hey, we got a debt. Social Security and pension, and in Europe it's pension. We got to pay for that so everybody can retire. Where are you getting the money? Well, we'll print it. It shouldn't be printed. First of all, the correct way would be, Howard, you go to work. I'll let you do a Social Security account. You can put 5% of your money in. We'll match the 5, and it goes into a Howard account. So now when I get to my age that I'm ready to retire, I got $500,000 in my account because I put it in and my employer matched it, instead of me paying Joe and then Willie paying me. No, let me take care of myself. Because when now you have too many baby boomers and you don't have enough people working because these new people don't know how to work, they just want to sit home and make money on Bitcoin and keep it active money. And this is the problem. They make terrible managers, terrible leaders. It's just really, the incentive to go to work now is very, very tough. Can you communicate? They can't communicate because they're not used to talking to people. They're used to texting on their phone. I remember, calling my daughter and leaving a message, happy birthday. And when I got back was a text, and I was so upset. Well, you don't want to talk to me? Why are you texting me? Why don't you call me back? Say, hey, Dad, this is it. Thanks for the birthday. Let's go out. She texts me back, and you don't know how to read a text. I mean, you can read it, but you don't know the emotion behind it. And I thought it was terrible. But I think that's the problem with these kids with the phones and the texting. They don't know how to communicate. So you're at work. I'm expecting my boss to come and tell me what he needs done. But my boss at Tenneco is so shy, and he was from Brazil, so he doesn't even understand how to talk to an American. And that was it. Oh, if you have a question, don't be shy. I don't know what to ask you because you're not giving me anything to do. So I thought it was terrible management because the new kids are always texting on their phone or playing video games. They don't know how to communicate like I do to you. When I was growing up, that's all you did. You talk. You didn't have cell phone. You didn't have phones, right? There was just a plug-in wall phone in your house. And who's calling me? So it's basically, I was out playing sports. So I would, you would talk that way. What about pricing gold coins with a 3D printer? You got to have gold to do it. If you understand 3D printing, let's say I wanted to 3D print this. Maybe you can't. Well, let's say I wanted to 3D print my Montana. You'd have to have the exact cardboard and color that you have on this. They couldn't just reproduce this card. So 3D printer, you've got to put the material in it, right? So you've got gold. You'd actually have to have gold into the 3D printer for it to print out the gold. You could use copper, I assume, and it might print it out, but it wouldn't be gold. So not sure what the question is. You can't, gold's gold. You have to have gold. This is a rock. To reproduce it, you need a rock. You can't fake it. So you can't, say I want to print an ounce of gold and not have the gold and think, what do you think you're going to get an ounce of gold because you're asking to print it? You've got to put the material in the printer, and the material you would need would be gold. So I suppose you could, if you had gold, just 3D print it, and you'd have another gold, but it would have to have gold to do it, or silver. So it's not like you can you can't never counterfeit gold because you have to have gold to do it. And if you don't have the gold and it's copper, it's not gold. So I don't know. I mean, that just makes no sense. Understand what 3D printing is. You need the material. Whatever you put in, you got to have the material. 3D. Can you 3D print my gym shoes? Well, you'd probably need whatever material makes up the gym shoe. Anyway, so that's why we got gold, and that's why you buy physical gold. You buy physical gold because all the others bullshit. As I said, the ETFs, they I got 1,000 Montanas and I got one. So, and you'll never take delivery of it. Andy Scheckman was saying that probably in the video I was watching. He says that somebody like a central bank who buys tons of gold can take delivery off of comex, but me and you with 10 ounces would never get delivery off of comex. That's why we go to the stores. But comex is just a fixed, it's price fixing. It's totally illegal. This is capitalist, not communism. And to say you don't want deflation shows that this guy's an idiot. Of course you do. I'd love to get the ribs for $10 a pound instead of 20. Or I go get chicken and ribs, it's $24 now. I'd rather spend $10, of course. Doesn't mean your dollar isn't worth, the dollar, the value of the dollar comes from the printing of it, comes from how many there are. The value of the Montana 10 is because there's only a handful of PSA 10s. This is extremely hard. That's why it has value. But that's it with the dollar. It's how many you've printed kills the value of it, not anything else. I had a very strange interview yesterday, which got reprised today. So I get a call for a financial analyst job, and I'm in the car, so I take the interview. So she says to me, this was like an Indian who I could barely understand. And she says to me, okay, I'll apply you for it. This is a medical place. She says, I'll apply you for it, but I need, give me your latest resume. Fine. I need 2 references. I says, well, I'd prefer not to give you them now, but I could. And then she said, I need your birth date, but not your year. Okay. Your last 4 of your social. Okay. And then she asked for my master's. So I said, I went to Wallace College. It's a business school. And then she says, well, I need the graduation date. I says, no, that I'm not giving you that, because then you can guess my age. I graduated in 95. It's 30 years. So, I'm minimum 60 because it's a master's. So it's, if I went right out of high school at 18, 19, 20, 21, got my undergrad and then started my master's right after, which is rare. So that would put me at 24 and add 30 on minimum 54. I says, there's no way that I'm giving you that information. I says, I'm going to sue you if you continue to ask for my age. That's age discrimination. And then she hung up on me. So now I get the same call by a different recruiter today for the same job. She never asked. Oh, and the other thing she asked for was my vaccine card. She wanted my vaccine card. Oh, they asked for your vaccine card. I says, I have it if I need to show it. But, that was 5 years ago when I was at Mercedes, I got it. So then I get the same call from a different recruiter today for the same job. She doesn't ask for when I graduated college. She doesn't ask for my vaccine card, which the lady yesterday swore that they needed it. This company needed it. But apparently they don't need it because this woman didn't ask. The only thing she asked for was 2 references, which I'm fine. Just I didn't give contact information. I don't want her calling my friends up and, until I get the job, then fine. But right now I wasn't going to give it to them. I don't like to bother my friends unless, okay, Howard's got the job. He just needs reference checks. Okay, fine. Then there was, so she never asked for my college or the year I graduated. That was never brought up either. So, I thought they needed it and they don't. So this is it's a 4-month contract. And I said, well, is this to hire or is this, who needs a financial analyst for 4 months? Because you're working on monthly things. The work doesn't go away. I says, are they trying to hire or extend and they're just trying me out? Is that what they're doing here? Because if I get another call from another company for a job 2 months into this, I'm going to take it because I think I'm only here 4 months. Had I known that that's what Tenneco was fucking around with me and only, 4 months, I would have taken other calls. But I thought you're trying to hire me, right? I was supposed to be hired at Tenneco, but they wanted me to start right away. So they said, come on, you'll start this contract and we'll convert you. I says, that's the plan. He says, yeah, that's the plan. So they blatantly lied to me. They eliminated the position. Maybe, I don't know. Let's see. I just applied to a new Tenneco job. I'm curious if they do call me for it, then yes, the job was eliminated. But okay. So how much is a couple $100,000? You're trying to sell, you're breaking out ignition piece from it's like saying you're trying to take the door off the car and sell the door. So that's what they're doing. They took ignition from powertrain and tried to sell ignition. So what? My $100,000 salary is going to make or break if somebody buys it? I thought that was very weird. Again, bad manager, no communication. This is what I'm running into now. It's like this is Harley was like that, a little bit okay. I talk more to the older people, but the younger people don't know what they're doing, and you'll start seeing it more and more. But most of the stuff's done in China now anyway, so I really don't get it. But anyway, so she never asked for my birth date. She never asked for social security number. She never asked for what year did I graduate college. But I would not answer that question. That's a bullshit question. You can sue them for asking you the question. It's like saying, well, what's your birth date? And you give the full day and year. That's bullshit. That's age discrimination. Oh, wait, you're this old. No, we can't hire. No, see, that can't play. That's none of your business. Can I do the job? You'll find out. So apparently this is 4 months. And then as long as everything goes well, they'll, I guess, hire you or renew you. I said, well, that's good. I need to know when I get other calls if I should, say fuck off or say, well, yeah, I'll take it. I just started a short-term contract, so I don't even have to give 2 weeks notice, which I won't do anymore. They apparently don't give you notice anymore. Like I said, it was Monday at 2:30 and said, you're done. Don't I get notice? Can I finish the date? No, we're just letting you go. I guess they think everybody's going to put a worm in their system. Like if we're that smart to put a worm in their system, we probably wouldn't be doing that job at that place. We'd be working for the Russians. Profit. What about painting another metal like copper to look like gold bars? Well, how are you going to do that? You need gold to do it, right? Or are you saying get gold paint and paint it? Well, there's machines that can test the stuff. So I'm going to, this is why I wouldn't buy it from an individual. I would go to the store where they test it. So let's say you did that and you took it to my store and you tried to sell him that. He's going to take it to his machine and verify if it's gold or not. And it's going to come back no. And I'm going to take a magnet to it and I'm going to go like this. And it's gonna attach, and I know it's fake. So there are tests that you have to go by. But if you're thinking of trying to counterfeit gold, you're doing the wrong thing. That's not a very smart thing to do because it's very easy to get caught, and you'll get in a lot of trouble with that. But you can't fake gold. It's either gold or it isn't. This is either gold or it's not gold. There's no in between. And that's what you got to understand. So no, you can't make it look gold. It'll be tested and it'll not be gold. And I don't know that you can really, I don't have gold here, but it's like taking this color yellow and saying, well, it's gold. Well, no, it's yellow. There's nothing you can do about it. So don't see that. Not a real smart thing. But I see the Chinese trying to counterfeit silver on eBay. Their mistake is the normal silver goes for, let's say, $36 an ounce, right? If you wanted to buy a bullion or the eagle, and then you'll see it for 22. Well, right there, it's fake just by looking at the price, because nobody in their right mind who has an ounce of silver is not going to try to get $35, $36 an ounce for it. If they're all going for 36, I got an ounce of silver. Why would I sell it for 22? Because I know I can get it for 36. So anyway, with Comex, we are waiting for it to blow up because it will, because they need the physical, which just isn't there. There is not any gold left, and I'm sure there's not any silver left. The U.S. is probably 30,000 tons short in silver now. It was 25,000. It's probably 30,000 because they keep doing derivatives. And the reason they can't pay is they can't find the silver. They're probably the only place you get silver now, which is like what China's doing and Russia is going to a silver mine. So they go to Newmont Mining and they go, I need 2,000 tons of silver. And Newmont's still got to dig it out of the ground, and it's not worth it because it's too cheap. So there's a big shortage of silver, but there's big demand of it, not only for army and solar panels, but for money. As this dies out and this is worthless, that you're going to want real money, and it's gold and silver. So when you keep listening to idiots like DB Cooper, you're going to go and if you find a guy like that, what I'm trying to do is warn you about guys like that who don't know what they're talking about. They don't understand inflation. As soon as I hear the word deflation, I know they're Keynesians. I don't want anything to do with them. Don't know what he's talking about. Argentina has not fixed the inflation. That's unless they come out with new currency, it's not possible. And again, they want to measure inflation with prices, and then they're talking. He said, "Well, deflation that makes the dollar worth more." No, it doesn't make the dollar worth more. The dollar is worth nothing, and just because you don't renew a bond does not make your dollar worth more. It just means you still got $160 trillion out there. The dollar's worthless, and if you retire bonds, it's still worthless. So he doesn't understand how you value dollars, how you value based on supply and demand, how the market works, and even the communist market of central planning and that. So he sounded like a communist, Keynesian, whatever. So I'm trying to wake you up from that. Profit. I'm a little worried the gold bars I may take delivery of could be faked. Well, let's take a look. I think I maybe said it in the email. I never heard of gold bars from, let's look at gold bars from Egypt. Never heard of that. It's just it's a weird country that you'd have all these gold bars come from. Not that there isn't, there could be. Let's see. Can I buy gold bars in Egypt? Buy our gold bullion bars and enjoy secure delivery through Egypt. Alternatively, when you purchase gold bars from Gold Era, many of our customers choose the added convenience of storing their gold investment with us. Didn't really answer the question. Is gold in Egypt cheaper? Oh, maybe there is. On the other hand, global gold prices are relatively stable. Bloomberg's data shows that the price of an ounce has established at $2,000. The per gram price average is 71. Comparing gold prices in Egypt are nearly $1,000 higher than global prices. This is May 4th, 20. So they're apparently, well, again, I don't know if this is gold in Egypt or does Egypt make, let me try this again. Let's see, Egyptian gold bars. Egyptian gold bars and 15,000 in a parking lot, the sprawling, what the fuck? 4 gold bars found in Menendez's home. I don't know who this Menendez is. So what I see here are kilo bars. And these are, looks like 999. I don't know the year. Here's some more. Well, I wouldn't, where are they coming from? Here's 100 gold, 999, 100 gram. I assume they're Egyptians. Does Egypt produce gold bars? Yes, Egypt produces gold bars and is one of the world's top exporters. And that's, I don't know if that's an Egyptian one, but yes. Egypt's gold production comes from mines like Sukari and Aiquat. In 2022, Egypt produced 13,000 kilograms of gold. In 2022, Egypt's gold exports reached 1.633 billion. Egypt has become the third largest holder of gold strategic. So there is gold in Egypt. I just don't see coins. Now, if you don't know where it's coming from and they want you to pay the shipping, who do you pay it to? So your question is going to be, they want you to pay the shipping and they're coming. And now it's like millions of dollars. And so your question is, well, who do I pay? Am I going to pay the shipper? Am I paying a company? That's where, what do? Do you pay it and then the bars come and they're all counterfeit and then you're screwed? Which is your question, which is a good question. I guess, how well do you know this girl? Like I said, have you been with her? Have you gone to dinner with her? Have you held hands with her? Do you know her? Or is she just somebody that's an online person? Do you see her like you see me, right? So I'm real. You see me. When I tried to see Kenzie, she wouldn't show me herself. So I knew she was just trying to scam me. But if you actually see her, and then you gotta, how did you meet her? And then do you see her? And have you met her? And do you talk on, like me and Daria talk on WhatsApp? So when I talk on WhatsApp with Daria, so I get this. Somewhere there's a picture. Where's my pictures? So, like, for her birthday, she wanted this. So she sends me the picture. This is what I want for my birthday. But we have these whole discussions. God, where's all my pictures from her? Well, like here, she sends me the ruble rate, 88.75. Well, she's obviously in Russia sending me that. Um, no. But like here, she sends me this picture. My tooth, is hurt and it's there, and I'm going to need an operation on her tooth. So she's got like a cavity or tooth, but she sends me. I know this is what she looks like. I've seen her many times. She shows me I need antibiotics. She shows me that kind of stuff. So it's a pretty good talk. Here she's sending me another. Yeah, that looks like her. And she's going out or whatever. So are you getting that kind of communication every day? Oh, here's my daughter. My mother's here, and she sends me the pictures and stuff like that. So that's really what you're looking at. Oh, I took this picture. So this is a clever picture I took from a video. So here's inflation. In the 70s, this is your cart with $20. I think it has the years somewhere. And then later on, here's $20 in your cart. And then now here's $20 in your cart. That's what inflation is. So you could fill your cart with $20. That's how strong your currency was. This is the 70s and 80s. And then here it's $20, fills you about half the cart. And now there's like 5 items in it for $20. That's the money. That's how your money loses value. That's what inflation is. Who wants deflation? Everybody, because you want to fill your cart like that. So you need the prices to go down to do it. It doesn't mean your dollar gets weaker. The dollar's controlled by money printing. If it was backed by gold, you'd still go to the grocery store like this. Not backed by gold. You got there's 3 items in it. It's hysterical. I mean, this is crazy. I go to the grocery store and it's basically you're dealing with $20 now. So that's the key. Are you getting those type of photos and talks? And I got this problem with my teeth. Is she sharing personal information? And have you met her? So Egypt is a big exporter of gold. Good to know. Apparently, I have some no. Okay, that's fine. I'll check my email. Well, this is the problem that if you don't know your friend that well, I guess the key is how do they benefit? So who would you pay? Okay, so here comes the gold to you. And they're saying you got to pay. Well, why do you got to pay? Have her pay. Have her dad pay. Right? No, you pay the shipping. Why should I be stuck with the shipping? That would be my first clue. The second clue is who do I pay? If you're paying UPS or FX or FedEx, well, they don't benefit from it. So it might be okay. If she says to pay my friend or pay me for the shipping, then that's a problem. So I think it comes down to who do you let's say you have to pay. I would question that. Say, no, I'm not paying. Look, if her father has all this money in gold, he can pay for the shipment. Or the daughter should pay for the shipment. You shouldn't pay for the shipment. You're being nice. So then it's, if I say, well, you pay me for the shipping and you get the gold, and then when you get it here, then I'll pay you back for the shipping. That's a problem. So if they don't benefit from you, so in other words, you're stuck with $100 for shipping, and does that make any sense? Wouldn't they have to pay for the shipping to get it there? And so the other question is, who would they pay? So if you pay either of them, there's a problem. If you pay the shipping company, they don't benefit. I would think it's real. That's how I look at it. Who benefits from it, right? So it's probably what I would look at. But yeah, send me the email. But this is what we have when we don't know the person. I trust Daria. When she asks me for money for something, she shows me, oh yeah, I need money for clothes. And then she shows me the clothes. I need money for food. She shows me the food. She's always like saying I need money for something and then showing me what she bought most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time. She just had a birthday. She wanted the perfume. I gave her the money for the perfume. Now I haven't seen the perfume yet, but she's been sick with the tooth. Okay. The daughter's in the hospital with tonsillitis. Okay. So why tell me that unless it's true? How do you make that shit up? So Jenna never lied to me. I never found Jenna as a liar. I don't find Alyssa as a liar, and I don't find well, Alyssa's a tiny liar, but not usually. She says I don't want to hurt anybody, so I'll lie like a white lie, so I don't hurt, like Batman would do. But I don't get Daria lying to me either. It's these chat girls that I find that lie to you. Kenzie pretending to be Kenzie. I find her to not be truthful, and other girls like that who I can't talk to. So that's really the problem. It's you don't really know. If you question, if you're even bothered by it, just say no. I don't have the money right now to do it. If you want to ship them to me, I'll hold them. But why not just ship them down to the daughter? If the daughter has to get married to get them, why is this even an issue now? So I don't really understand that. But if the father has enough money, because apparently he's got all this gold, then he should pay for it. Now, does the fact he's sick make him not able to pay for it? Maybe. But still, is the daughter broke? She has no money, but here's all this money in gold. And, so I don't know. And then the amount changed. So there's a lot of holes, but I don't think I'd worry about it being fake. Maybe, but I don't think I'd worry about that as much because it's too easy to check. I mean, you're opening it and there's going to be a bunch of steel or rocks. I don't think you'd see that, but not really sure. So that's the point. But I hope it works out for you. It's like me with Daria. I'm waiting to meet her already, but we've had a war. And so that made sense. That was a good excuse of not meeting, although we should meet. Anyway, I think it drove Jenna crazy because she was drinking and kind of rude to me. And I think she was just as tired of the war. I don't think it was me. I help her out. Why would she not? But I chose Daria, so that's it. Yeah, I plan on letting them pay FedEx or UPS to ship it here. Why are they shipping it to you? Why not to the daughter? I get the father's sick, but why would they ship it to you? And you're in Canada, doesn't help. I don't know. I don't know enough. But I mean, are you talking to her on Skype or Teams and you know it's her and this is what she does? You know what she does for work? You've met the father and her and you're comfortable that it's real. I mean, can you fly to California and meet her? I mean, would she allow that? If she does, then maybe you go fly to her first and say, I just want to meet you. make sure everything's okay and watch her personality when you're with her, and you'd know. Like they say, Carmen was different on the internet than she was in real. Jenna was pretty much the same, and I'm assuming Daria will be exactly the same. I will explain that to you when I email you. Okay. No, I'm just asking questions. I find it's easier to ask you questions here than to write you a long email where you might not follow and I might duplicate. I'm just saying what I would look for from basically what I've had happen. Now, I do trust Jenna and I do trust Daria. I don't speak to Jenna anymore, but I do trust Daria. Jenna didn't lie or was deceitful in any way. It was not it. It was just I chose Daria, and we'll see what happens. But that's really it. I don't buy the Daria. Like she showed me the perfumes I want. I don't think she takes the money and doesn't buy the perfume. She seemed to want the perfume. So she even asked me what's the cost in America, and I said it's about the same price. But I looked at Sephora, and I don't know where she was looking. I think I looked on Amazon, and it wasn't much different. So that's basically, again, the questions. But I hope she's okay. I haven't heard from her today. I assume she was getting the CAT scan and then getting the operation, and then she's probably recovering from the operation. That the biggest thing I learned from Russian girls, there's two things. If you're ever trying to date a Russian girl or a European girl and they say I'm alone, it means they don't have a boyfriend. And that's what they mean. Because Jenna asked me, and I said, "Well, I got friends." She meant, do I have a girlfriend? But she said, "Am I alone?" Which was new. And then I'm with you. I'm with you means I'm serious about you. The Russian, Ukrainian girls will say that. I'm with you, meaning I'm your girl. I'm serious. Yeah, that's another thing because I'd say, well, I'm with you too. Like Jenna would say, I'm with you. And I'd go, yeah, I'm with you too. I had no idea what she was talking about. Then one day Daria said it, and I looked on Google, I am with you for Russia. And it was like, no, I'm your serious girlfriend. And I said, oh, okay. The other thing is, like at work now, I had a Brazilian boss who was clueless. He never really could communicate well. He couldn't talk well. He wouldn't call me Howard. He had a slang to it and really had a hard time communicating. And, I don't know why that. Let's run to Brazil for a finance manager. I didn't get that. And then I find the Indians are very egotistical and hard to work with also. So be careful. As we know from Toyota, the Japanese are horrible to work for. Do not work for Japanese. I like the Canadians. The Germans were good. The most US are okay. I think that's the key to work. There's two problems with work. The boss, who you don't really know, has to be a good boss, but they're not trained to be a manager. So you get an accountant, and then you need an accounting manager. So he's not a good manager, but he's a good accountant. Or for finance, or the CFO at Tenneco was a guy with a moron. Well, we bring in money and then we spend it. You can only spend as much as you bring in, and I'm like, that's my 5-year-old knows that. I mean, of course, here's your allowance. That's what you can spend. I mean, that's the first thing you learn, but you don't. The CFO doesn't talk about it. So you got to be careful. And then the second thing is you should be paid on productivity and not on hours, right? You're going to make $50 an hour, but I only have 5 hours worth of work. What am I supposed to do for the other 3 hours? I should get paid the full amount. If I needed to do A, B, and C that day, and I did A, B, and C by 10 o'clock, I should be able to go home. I did what you wanted. Because it's very boring, and then you get on your computer or your phone now, and you do around, you take walks, you have a long lunch. I mean, it's like it's torture to sit there and do it. I would do my football once I was by 11 o'clock when I was done. But that's again, that was my second choice. My first choice was to work. But if you don't give me an assignment, if I'm contracted, I'm not really looking for work to do. I'll do work if I find something. At Mercedes, I did look for work. Like I would go through the ledger and I'd go, oh, there's something going on. But at some places, I just, oh, what do you want me? Okay, fine. And then you don't want to communicate with me and whatever. I don't, that's how you want to do it. That's how we'll do it. But I do notice this new thing now. They'll let you go with no notice. Yeah, Howard, it's 2 o'clock on a Monday. We're going to let you go. And now I realize that's the norm. That's what they do. I guess they're afraid you're going to put a worm in their system and blow up their computers. They don't trust because they're not honest people to begin with. Because an honest person would give you notice. Mercedes gave me notice. It was the end of February. Said you're done March 31st. So I had a month. They trusted me. They knew I wouldn't hurt them, and that was it. But with COVID, I couldn't stay on, unfortunately. But I knew my date was ending at Mercedes. They weren't just going to end it. But I thought it was very bad at Tenneco to just, okay, but you got to go. And you're like, can I at least stay till the end of the day? I was doing something. I had some work to do for month end, and they just let me go. And don't you want to know what I'm working on? You didn't even want to know. I mean, okay. But this is the problem with the new jobs now. I've been doing it for 30 years already. So I know what the manager wants and I know my job, but now it's changing. The manager is clueless. I had some interviews last year where I met with the CFO and the VP and they loved me. And then I interviewed with the hiring manager and I didn't get the job and I couldn't understand why aren't I getting the job? What about me does the hiring manager not like? And then I kind of realized because I'm smarter than him and he's afraid of losing his job to me, I assume. That's all I could come up with because I've never seen if the VP and the CFO want you that you didn't get hired, that he wouldn't go to the hiring manager. You're hiring Howard. I mean, why does the hiring manager have to meet me? Well, I'm too old or I'm, whatever it is, on a half-hour interview, you're not really, what can you possibly understand about me? Anyway, so that's what's going on with that. I am here for you. It's not I am here for you. I'm with you, I think. So in other words, I'm your girl or something like that, which meant I am with you is meaning it's a serious thing. Instead of saying I'm your girlfriend and your fiance or something, it's I am with you. And but that's this is the culture thing. When you start dating other girls of different cultures, you've got to understand what they're saying. Even though it's I am with you in English, is not I am with you in Russian. It's a totally different thing. But that's why I feel more comfortable with Daria and Jenna. I know they're serious because when they meet a guy that they like, they don't fuck around. They're very family oriented. Just keep the money coming. Well, that's up to me if I agree to it or not. I was asked, can you help me? And I thought about it and I said, yeah, I can give you a little bit. When I'm working, I'm making a lot more money than I need to pay my normal bills, and the extra goes to gold and silver. So I'm like, oh yeah, I can give you 100 of 1,000. So if I got $1,000 extra coming in, I go buy my gold. Yeah, I can afford to give you 100, which is they're so poor that it worked out okay. So that's kind of what it's about. Now, is she playing me? I don't think so. But again, we'll meet. Now, I met Jenna several times and she wasn't playing me. But she did think I was the bank, right? Oh, I need money for life. I want to get my nails done and I want to go to the gym. And she would ask me for money. And I do, okay. And I knew she'd show me pictures of the gym. She'd show me her nails. Not that I needed to see that, because if I didn't trust her, I wouldn't give her the money. but that's my decision. You know, you're trying to help, you're trying to make them happy, and can you do it? If you can do it, then you want to make them happy. This is your girlfriend, then you would. Same thing with your friend. Do you help her? Are you in a position to help her? And do you want to help her? You don't have to. And that's the question I used to get. Well, if I'm in America, why do I want a Russian girl or Ukrainian girl? Because I don't like the American girls, and because it is hard because it is a long distance. In other words, if I'm dating a girl in Detroit, it's easy. I can see her every day and take her to dinner every day, but with Jenna, it was we'll meet twice a year on a 7-8 day vacation. Let's go to Barcelona and meet for a week, and then you're going home and I'm going home, which was Now, what happened with us was the war. There was no way I could go there because I'm not about to get bombed by Putin. And the war's still fucking going on. Now, I asked her to come here. She said, I need a visa. I says, go get a visa. I'll pay for it. Go apply for the visa, and then I'll fly you here. And you might as well just stay here for a couple months, But she never, either she didn't want to go or there was a communication breakdown of, I need a visa, like, maybe she thought I could get her a visa, which I can't. You got to get your own visas. Can do a letter of invite, which is what I did for Carmen, and she got a visa. She had to go to the U.S. Embassy in Bucharest, and then she got the visa. So basically, Daria would have to go to Moscow to the U.S. Embassy with the letter and say, I want to go visit my boyfriend in Detroit, in America. And it says I'll take care. So we'll see if we get to that. But that's the difference with the long distance relationship is you're not together. If I took her on a vacation for a week, then I don't see her for another year, and it's expensive to go on the vacation, and it doesn't really tell you anything because you're on vacation. You're not working and cooking dinner and stuff. You're waking up, having the breakfast, going out, having dinner, going back to the room. And I mean, so it's not a real like dating thing. But that's, that what I'm trying to show you is the different cultures, so if you are dating a girl, and even you, Prophet, you're dating a girl in America and you're Canadian, there is a little bit of difference. You're more British, and depending on what part of America she's from, down south versus east, west, Michigan. I mean, it's different. There's a bunch of different cultures here. So you got to be careful with that. So you got to understand the girl, but we'll see what happens. I hope it's real, that you can call her and talk to her and see her on Skype. Then I would be more comfortable that it's real. But I don't think you're getting counterfeit gold. I guess you'll find out if they ship it to you. And really, I don't know what you would do, because I don't think you're taking a bar to a jewelry store, gold store, unless you take it to a high end, Rolex jewelry store. And then they'll be able to tell you if it's real gold. They'll have the meter, and they can say, yep, this is real. But you're walking around with this big bar, and you got a target on your back. You got to really conceal it, and that you don't have anything. Because if people see at the bar or see you with this big thing, you might be in trouble. Anyway, so that's what's going on. So be very careful. We understand what inflation is. And we do want deflation. We do want prices coming down. It all depends. There's many different ways. If, like I said, I bought a VCR in 1979, it was like $900, but a couple of years later, it was $200 because then everybody flooded the market with it. There was 15, Sony, RCA, everybody came in making a VCR that the prices dropped. Well, that's fine. Was that deflation? Well, again, if deflation is prices dropping, it was deflation. Was that bad? No, it was excellent. You want prices to come down. As far as the dollar cannot come back in any currency. It's inflated, it's worthless, right? They printed too much of it. They have government debt. They have all these social pension programs. There's no way the inflation ever stops because it's not prices, it's printing the dollar. So you do not want inflation because it basically steals money from you. It makes your dollar worthless. Who the hell wants that? So you get into gold and you hold the gold. That's what you're supposed to do. Take it, put it in your safe and hold it. That's the idea. Then that goes up in value and this goes to zero. You can't, so you either stay in this or you buy the gold. There's only two options. An ETF or any of these stocks are not an option because they're in dollars and the economy will crumble because the dollar's valueless and your stocks are going to go down in value. Your ETF, well, you only want it because you want physical and you can't get it. So anybody saying to get an ETF doesn't know what he's talking about. So anyway, I thought that guy was weak, but I wanted to, sometimes I like to show you, because we keep open minds here, right? So we want to show you, this is what the idiots are saying, so you can be guarded against that. I can get an ETF, and your eyes should roll going, why would I want an ETF? Why would I want money in the bank? Why would I want to be in the stock market now? And so you simply look at that. All right. Well, but put it this way, Prophet, even if you're married to her, keep the money coming is still going to be on the table. Excuse me. Keep the money coming is if you're married or not, it's keep the money coming. All right, 28.86 with gold, 31.49 silver. Silver we know is just terrible. But again, look at the 10 o'clock drop from 28.90 to, so it goes down $20 and now it's back to 28.86. So what was the point of that derivative, right? So you shorted the market, you wanted the price to go down, you did a put option, the price goes down $20, but immediately goes back up $20. How much money did you just lose? You lose money when this happens. You're hoping the price goes down and the price didn't go down. And it's not going down, the price is going up because the demand's going is high to buy gold because everybody wants to get out of this. All the BRICS countries they're getting out of dollars and going into gold. And that's what's happening. So why would you say, well, I think gold's going to go down? What are you, crazy? And this is where the guy says, oh, it's easy to price fix. It's not easy to price fix. It's easy to price fix when there's no variables involved. When nobody's buying gold, it's easy to price fix. But now everybody and their mother's buying gold. It's not, you can't price fix gold down because then people are buying it. You're price fixing silver a little bit, but you really want that silver price at $20 an ounce and you're getting 32. So you're not able to price fix what you think you are. You can try, but at the end of the day, the market wins. Don't ever forget that. So low supply, gold and silver, high demand, gold and silver from BRICS and everybody else, high price. You can't price fix it. Eventually it will break and eventually the price will be realized. And again, this is not just the US, this is the world. So you cannot price fix in the US and then here's Russia, China, and India buying it all. All the BRICS countries are buying it all. So you can't price fix them. You can keep the price down in the US, which just enables us to buy it at a cheap price. So if you're smart, you buy it at a cheap price, but you can't price fix this. You can't price fix anything in a free market, which is what the US is. Eventually the market says, oh, you want Canadian Club at $20? We'll buy the shit out of it. And it's, then it price goes back to $50, $60 for it, which because the demand is there. Low supply, high demand equals high price 100% of the time. Gold, silver fit perfectly. A PSA 10 Montana fits. A nice Brady rookie card, fits, very low supply, even though this isn't numbered. And that's what you get. All right. So Prophet, send me some emails. I'm curious what's going on, but I have no idea. It seems I don't know. I don't know enough. I would definitely, if I can't get the girl on the phone or on Skype or Teams, I wouldn't do it. If you've met the girl, so if I've met her and I know, like if this is Daria saying this, I would do, or Jenna, I would do it because I know them. I've seen them enough. All the pictures of them. I know who I'm talking about. I've been with Jenna a lot. I just haven't been with Daria yet, but we had a war going on. Okay. Do I believe Daria? Yeah. I mean, I know it was her birthday. I got that set. So I don't know when her birthday really is, but I assume it was the 25th. That's all you can do. So we will go from there. But anyway, that's what's happening. Buy your gold and silver. It's just very cheap and it will go up. So the thought of it won't go up shouldn't enter your mind. I guess a lot will happen at the end of the first quarter, which is the end of March. And then we know the July 1st date, supposedly when all these derivatives come due. And so there should be a lot of buying in. However, there is not the gold to buy at these prices. Nobody's selling the gold, and we're the perfect example. You cannot get my gold for 3,000. No, there's no way I'm giving up my gold for 3,000. Unless it's just I have to have the money, but otherwise I'm going to probably want 7,000-8,000 for my gold. When it hits that, I might sell a few ounces if I have some bills or want to go on a vacation or something. But otherwise, keep that in mind. Only if you have to have it. So with that, I'm going to go. I'm going to have some lunch and go to the pool. Tomorrow I got to run to the bank, I think. I'm not sure. I got to check my balance because I had a pretty good paychecks, and then I'm waiting on this job, so we'll see. But I should have money to cover rent. I'd be shocked if I didn't. But food's getting a little more expensive. My utilities have gone up a little bit, not a lot, $20 here and there, but I'm spending more, so I've lost track what I got in the bank, but I think I'm okay. I'd be shocked if I wasn't. But then I get a car insurance bill and then some gas I put on my debit card, so we'll see where I'm at. But anyway, have a good day. www.teaserking.com. You want to email me, do what Prophet does, and wish Prophet good luck. I hope everything goes well with them. All you can do is play the game, and if there's risk, you got to be able to handle the risk. If it's not comfortable, I wouldn't play the risk. They're giving you a nice carrot. Oh, here's all this gold worth all this money. That's the carrot, and the question is it real or not? I'm not. I don't know. I've had this. I was scammed. I wasn't scammed. They tried to scam me like this, but I wouldn't let it happen. So we'll see. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. www.teaserking.com. All right. Take care.